Hello students, welcome to Target AES. Let us continue with module number 5 of our compression members. I hope you are enjoying this topic, right? So today I am going to teach you a very important topic, especially for objective purpose, and this topic is lacings and batten. Okay, the same you can read in your notes also, but थोड़ा वो diagrammatically represent करना मुश्किल हो रहा था because it is in black and white, so I made it colorful in our short notes. Not short notes, it is just supporting text. Okay, so you can make your own short notes based on them. So now coming to this very interesting topic, lacings and batten. What is the advantage of this? Why we are using this? First of all, let us try to understand the concept behind this. Concept क्या है? See, what is the relation between the load carrying capacity and your radius of gyration? See, it is directly proportional to radius of gyration. अगर आपका radius of gyration ज़्यादा है, the load carrying capacity of that column will be more. How? Let us try to understand. Your lambda is equals to KL by R, right? So I can say lambda is inversely proportional to radius, right? So radius of gyration. If radius of gyration increases, your lambda will decrease. And you know, your PCR is inversely proportional to lambda because pi square EA by lambda square, right? So it is inversely proportional to lambda. As lambda is decreasing, what will happen to my PCR? PCR will increase, right? So it is very clear. So if your radius of gyration is increasing, your load carrying capacity will increase. That's why I have told you in the beginning of chapter that the most efficient cross section in handling compression was uh, hollow circular cross section, right? Thin circular cross section. So if you have something like this, what happens? The radius of gyration will be maximum, right? Radius, because the material is very far away from your centroidal axis. Obviously, whenever you are finding out your radius of gyration under root I by A, you will be finding out that your R is maximum in this case. As R is maximum in this case, what is happening? Your load carrying capacity increases. So when I am constructing some column, compound column, let us say you are constructing a column using C sections, ठीक है? So using C sections, किस तरह से दिखेगा आपको column? Let us say something like this. You will be seeing something like this. Okay, so if you are seeing from the top, you will be seeing C section. If you are seeing from the top, you will see the C section. ठीक है? So you have columns like this. So now what is my aim? My aim is to get R higher. Okay, or minimum. To be precise, you should not just call radius of gyration more, you should say the minimum radius of gyration as more. Why? Let us try to understand. If you are having the same c section, we have discussed this before also. So this will be your yy. Let us say this is your xx. ठीक है, टॉप व्यू से देख रहा हूँ, I am seeing in the top view. So xx and yy. So your whatever radius of gyration, so you will be getting ryy here, rxx here. Let us say your ryy is less in this case. Ryy is less in this case. This is minimum and this is your maximum. See, your load carrying capacity will depend on your minimum radius of gyration, because I have just told you your load carrying capacity, alright, is directly proportional to R. Okay, so if you are taking RYY, which is minimum value, you will be getting less load. Right? If you are considering RXX, that means it will be telling you that this same column can actually take more load. What will happen in this case? If you are taking RXX, it will give you more value, but when you keep that value on your column, as it is weaker along RYY, it can take less load along RYY, so this structure is going to collapse. This structure will collapse. I hope it is very clear for you. So what is happening? Always we take minimum value, right? So always we take load corresponding to our minimum radius of gyration. I hope it is very clear, right? So my aim is not just to increase radius of gyration. We should be very precise. Our aim is to increase the minimum radius of gyration. Whatever the minimum R value is there, no, that we have to increase. So now let us try to understand. How can I increase R? So I can just move this C sections apart, right? What I can do? I can move this C sections apart. So I am just moving this apart. I have moved this apart. So what will happen? My IYY value will increase. So under root I by A, whenever you are doing what is happening, your RYY value will increase. That means ये जो minimum था पहले, now it is increasing. But if you keep on increase, what will happen? See, there will be a point where you will be reaching. If you are keep on moving this, there will be a point you will be reaching that RYY is equals to RXX, right? अगर इसके बाद आप फिर भी you are moving them apart, okay, if you are moving them apart beyond this point, then what will happen? Now your minimum value will become RXX, which is not going to change. So even if you are moving apart, there won't be any change in your load carrying capacity, right? I hope you understand this concept in the last module itself. So now it is very clear what I have to do to get my whatever R minimum to be increased. I have to keep my columns at certain distance. So very clearly you understood, right? You have to move them apart, then your R minimum value will be increased to certain value. I hope it is very clear. So now you try to understand, if you have columns, okay, the same C section column, something like this, okay, if you are seeing from the top, you will be seeing your C section. So now what is going to happen? Let us try to understand. These two are very apart. How can they act as one unit, right? Because this is looking like two columns, this is looking like two different columns, this is not looking like one column. So obviously, to make them to act as a single unit, what you have to do, we have to join this, right? We have to join this. How to join? We can use lacings, okay, ऐसा join कर सकते हो, or you can use some battens. So you will be bolting them using some flats and you will be making them as a single unit. I hope it is very clear. तो यहाँ क्या कर रहे हो? You are applying some battens or lacings and you are making them to act as a single unit. I hope it is very clear, right? समझ में आ रहा है what is the use of lacings and battens? So our main aim to increase the load carrying capacity of a column is to increase my R minimum value, and I don't want to increase the area of section. Obviously, if you keep on increasing the area of section, your load carrying capacity increases, but your cost will also increase, right? So what I am doing, I am not increasing the area. That means I am not increasing the amount of material involved, but I am just uh, doing some smart work. I am increasing the radius of gyration without increasing the radius of section, that and without increasing the area of section. That means material whatever I have is same, it is not increasing, but the load carrying capacity is increasing because my R minimum value whatever is there is now more. I hope it is very clear for you. Concept to समझ में आ गया? So what I am doing, I am placing the members away from its centroidal axis, just like how I have explained before. I am just making them move away from their principal axis. I hope it is very clear. But as they are moving away, they will not act as individual members. They will not act as a one member. So what I am doing, I am joining them with the help of some members, and these lateral members, whatever I am taking help, I am calling it as lacings or battens. Okay. I am calling them lacings or battens. Generally, these lacings or battens, it can be rolled steel flats. You know the flats, right? Low rolled steel flats, something like this. It will be like this, or it can be angle sections. You know angle sections very well, right? समझ में आ गया ना concept? So you can have flats or you can have angles. It is up to you. Done. समझ में आ गया the concepts of lacings and battens, right? Very simple. So now let us try to understand these lacings first, and then I will explain you the batten. Okay. First, let us try to understand the lacings, and then I will explain you battens. So see these two diagrams. Very simple diagrams. Yeah. So very simple diagrams. Just have a look at this. Okay. So here we have two C sections. So this is first C section. This is the second C section. Right. So you can see from the top, if you are able to see, you will be seeing something like this. Okay. So to act as one member, what I am doing is I am adding some lacings. I am adding some lacings. Okay. So whenever you are using the lacings, right, the last one will be using a tie plate or batten plate. Okay. A straight plate we will be using, but above that we will be going something like this, like a truss. You know the truss, right? You might have studied the truss. आगे भी हम पढ़ेंगे, but you know the truss members, right? Like that we will be using our lacings. I hope it is very clear, right? It could be angle section or it could be flats also. It is up to you. तो ये रहा concept. Now comes the very important thing. See, whenever you are joining something like this, you might have seen in your real life condition also in railway station, most of the columns will be made up of steel only, right? You go and see what will happen is you will be not having these connections on only one side. Okay, इसके पीछे भी side बन रहा है ना, so not only this side. Okay, let us say this is the front view, whatever you are seeing. So not only this side, on the opposite side also, back, exactly on the back of this, you will be seeing a symmetrical arrangement of your lacings. I hope it is very clear, right? So क्या हो रहा है, in this diagram you will be seeing, if you are seeing from the top, you will be seeing lacings here as well as you will be seeing lacing here. ये तो clear हो गया ना? So how many lacings are there in this diagram? How many lacing trusses are there? So 1 and 2, right? So they will superimpose each other. In the front view you cannot see whatever is there on the back side, okay? And similarly, if you are going back and seeing, you will be seeing a lacing system, and the lacing system which was forward, right, it will be like a super imposed image of it, exactly picture rahega. I hope it is very clear for you, right? So uh, remember these things. So not necessary that this n will always be 2, sometimes it can be 3 also, it can be 1 also. So I will teach the special cases later on in the same class, no need to worry. So this type of arrangement I am calling it as single lacing. Kyun? I have a simple truss like this, okay, only one truss. But if I have something like this, let us say this is my point, right, exactly opposite to this. If I have something like this, okay, then I will be calling it as double lacing. Okay, for example, you can see this, right? So we are calling this as double lacing. Okay, so now let us see, there are some conditions of our lacings, very important for objective purpose. So always remember this. Similar to that of our tag bolts, you might have remembered the tag bolts, right? In the last class I have taught you the tag bolts concept. So here I told you the L1, which is the distance between tag bolts, and R minimum ka ratio, it should not be greater than 40 and it should not be greater than 0.6 lambda of a whole structure. So I hope you remember that. Similarly, here also we have a clause for battens and lacings for both of them. Okay, your C, which is nothing but the distance between these two individual lacings. In case of battens, it is the distance between two individual battens. Okay, so this distance divided by your R minimum should not be greater than 50. The slenderness ratio in between these lacings or battens, it should not be greater than 50, as well as it should not be greater than 0.7 lambda of a whole column. Okay, in tag bolts it was should not be greater than 40 and 0.6 lambda, whereas in lacings and battens both it is should not be greater than 50 and should not be greater than 0.7 lambda. I hope you will remember this. काफ़ी सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट है, no need to worry, right? So I have repeatedly told you that this lacing will be like a truss, like a truss. Truss bending moment लेगा क्या? No, right? Bending moment is zero in your truss. All the truss can take is axial forces, यानी it can take either tension or compression. Okay, either tension or compression. So remember, your whatever this lacings are there, they will be taking only compression or tension, that are axial forces. Okay, I hope it is very clear, right? So remember, there are some important clauses which can be asked in your state PSC directly, तो वो आपको थोड़ा concentrate करना पड़ेगा and याद रखना पड़ेगा. For example, what is the overall overlap length of your lacing on column? ठीक है, so whenever you are placing a lacing on your column, obviously you have to overlap it with certain distance, right? You can't just for example, this is your column, you cannot just keep placing at the beginning and move on, right? ऐसे तो नहीं हो सकता है. So there should be certain distance, it should be going inside your column, right, on your column. So this whatever the distance, the overlap length जो भी है ना, it should not be less than 4 times the thickness of your lacing. ठीक है, 4 times the thickness of your lacing. Very important bit, it has asked in so many examinations as a one liner, that the overlap length in case of lacing, it should not be less than 4 times the thickness of your lacing. I hope you got the concept so far. कुछ problem नहीं है, perfect हो आप. Now comes the very important thing, the angle of lacing. Now comes the very important thing, which is the angle of lacing. Always remember, I am talking about the angle with respect to which axis? Vertical axis. Okay, so this is a very important thing. This angle should not be less than 40 degrees and should not be greater than 70 degrees. Very important bit. So the angle with respect to vertical, remember this. Sometimes to confuse in examination, he can ask you what is the angle with respect to horizontal, then don't blindly tick these options. Okay, convert kar lena and write it down. Okay, you know that What is the angle between vertical to horizontal? That will be 90 degrees. So 90 minus these values will be your answer. So be careful and don't be a dumb student just to tick the answer as soon as you see the question. Okay, थोड़ा सोचना जरूर, ठीक है. So with respect to vertical, this whatever angle is there, right, of the lacing, it should not be less than 40 degrees and should not be greater than 70 degrees. Why is so? See, common sense की बात है. If the angle is less than 40 degrees, then the length of lacing will increase, ठीक है. It becomes very expensive. Let us try to understand. Let us say this is my theta. Okay, if my theta is very less, yani the line will be very much closer, right? To make theta less, your line will be very much closer to the vertical plane. Agreed or not? So what is happening to reach the second column? What is happening? The length of lacing will be very much high. Wahi, if your theta is higher, see, what is the minimum length of the lacing? When it is perpendicular, right? When it is perpendicular, this will be the minimum length. But if the angle is somewhere in between, the length will be considerable. But if the angle is very less, the length will be very much more. So we have come to the conclusion as per the code book itself. हमको कोई तकलीफ लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. Blindly we can say, if the theta is less than 40 degrees, let us say 20 degrees or 30 degrees, whatever it is, then the length will be very much more and it will become costly because you are using lot of material which is not necessary. Therefore what is happening, we have to restrict the vertical angle to 40 degrees. We should not decrease the vertical angle to less than 40 degrees. I hope it is very clear, right? Now this whatever theta is there, you can ask, sir, theta hamesha 90 hi rakh do, because you will be getting minimum value, right? Minimum length of lacing you can provide. But here we have a problem. If theta is greater than 70 degrees, then the forces induced in my lacing will be very much higher. Okay? See, the lacings are taking either compression or tension, right? So if the theta value is greater than 70, then the forces whatever are being induced in my lacing will be very much high. And if the force is high in my lacing, then my lacing itself can be buckled again. ठीक है, ये खुद buckle हो सकता है, and obviously it will not serve its purpose. Therefore we should make sure that my theta is not greater than 70 degrees. So my range of theta is 40 to 70 degrees. So very important bit, please do remember this. ठीक है. So I will prove it to you that एक प्रॉब्लम भी करके देख लेंगे that why we are not keeping it more than 70 degrees. But now first let us see the concept of this. The main concept and main bit which you have to remember for your state PSCs is coming now. That let us try to understand what is happening. For a column you are using this lacings. Okay, lacings is a truss. It is also a steel, right? It is made up of steel again. So for your columns you are adding some steel members extra. ठीक है, तो इसका लोड कहाँ पे पड़ रहा है? कॉलम पे पड़ रहा है ना. द कॉलम इज कैरिंग दिस ट्रसेस. अग्रीड और नॉट? सो इट इज कैरिंग सम extra load on it. Therefore the load carrying capacity, what is happening, the load carrying capacity is actually decreasing. Agreed or not? यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Because as it is already taking some extra external load because of this stresses, the load carrying capacity is going to decrease. Agreed or not? Therefore to find out the exact load carrying capacity of my column, you need not worry a lot. You need not go into a detailed calculation. Blindly you can follow IS code book. ठीक है, the code book का मतलब ये है ना, to make the concept easy for us. So code book is saying what you do is, if you are using lacing system, just increase my effective length by 5%. ठीक है. So what I am doing, let us say if there are both ends hinged, you know your length, effective length was 1 into L. So but now if you are using the lacing in this column, take it as 1.05 times the length. समझ में आ रहा है ना concept? So I am just increasing by 5%. effective length I am increasing by 5%. तो इससे क्या हो जाएगा? See, you know P is pi square EI by LE square. Agreed or not? So now as the length has been increased by 5%, what will happen? Your load carrying capacity obviously decreases and you will be getting the exact or approximate whatever the load carrying capacity after you have lacing supplied on your system. I hope you got the concept right. तो लोड कितना डिक्रीज हो रहा है, बिकॉज you are applying the lacings. You need not calculate directly. Indirectly we have a method. We just have to assume my effective length is increased by 5%. As the effective length is increasing, my load carrying capacity will be decreased. You just have to find out that load carrying capacity. Done. याद रखोगे. A very important bit for your state PS is never 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 forget. Okay, got it. So there are some more questions which can be coming for objective purpose, so be careful and you should never make a mistake. These are directly from your code book. So length of a lacing bar. So length of a lacing bar will always be measured from inner bolts or welds. For example, we will see here, we will see in this case. So what will be the length of your lacing from your bolt to bolt? This length. Okay, your lacing can be like this also, but this will not be the length of the lacing wherever the bolts are. So this distance in between whatever I have, that only I will be considering as my length of lacing. That's the first point. I hope you will be remembering it. Or if you are having a weld, if you are having a weld, just see, if you are having a weld, तो वेल्ड के बीच में जो भी डिस्टेंस बन रहा है, दैट विल बी कंसिडरिंग एज योर लेंथ ऑफ लेसिंग. Okay, so distance between inner bolts or weld you will be considering as length of lacing bar. So length of L effective, what will be your L effective of a lacing bar? See here, if you are connecting with one bolt, okay, it is similar to that of a hinged beam, right? So what will be the L effective? That will be the length of your lacing bar. I hope it is very clear, right? So what is L effective? The effective length of my lacing, that will be 1 into L. I hope it is very clear, no issues here. But if it is welded, यहाँ पे क्या कर दिया है मैंने? वेल्ड कर दिया है, यहाँ पे वेल्ड कर दिया है, यहाँ पे वेल्ड कर दिया है. You know, whenever you are welding, you are increasing the rigidity of your member. Therefore, you can consider the effective length as similar to that of fixed one, and you can say your effective length is 0.7 times your length, right? समझ गए ना कॉन्सेप्ट? कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है इसमें, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आ रहा है. नॉट ओनली दिस, इवन इफ इट इज कनेक्टेड विद बोल्ट्स, बट इफ यू हैव डबल लेसिंग, ओके, ये सिस्टम में डबल लेसिंग है, नॉट जस्ट सिंगल लेसिंग, यू हैव डबल लेसिंग, then also you have to consider the L effective of your lacing as 0.7 times the length. Okay, याद रखोगे. So for double lacing bolt system it is 0.7 L, for welded lacing it is 0.7 L, if you have a single bolt then it is L. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है ना? What is the minimum width of a lacing bar? Minimum width यानी this वाला width. So the minimum width whatever you have here, it should not be less than 3 times the diameter of bolt. Okay, so minimum 3 bolt तो यहाँ पे आना ही चाहिए, आ सकना चाहिए. Okay, it doesn't mean you are giving 3 bolts, even 1 bolt is enough. It depends on the condition. Okay, we will design how many, I will also teach you how many bolts are required for each lacing at the end of this topic. But for now, the minimum width should be such that it should be greater than 3 times the diameter of your bolt. So that is the second clause you have to remember for your objective purpose. And next is minimum thickness of lacing. Okay, what is the minimum thickness of lacing? The lacing bar whatever you are using, right, इसका तो thickness रहेगा. Just give me a second. So if you are using this lacing, it will be having certain thickness also, right? इसका जो thickness है, so this thickness, it should not be less than L effective by 40 for single lacing, and it should not be less than L effective by 16 for double lacing. If you have a double lacing system, then what is the answer? It should be not less than L effective by 16. If it is a single lacing, then it should not be less than L effective by 40. See, I have made a mistake in my notes. In this design topic, I have written somewhere, somewhere I have written it should not be less than L effective by 60. Please correct it is not 60, it is 16. In our notes, please do correct. The thickness of your lacing bar, it should not be less than L effective by 40 for single lacing, and it should not be less than L effective by 16 for your double lacing. Please do correct it. So these are some bits which you have to remember, and the most important bit which has came in many examination, what is slenderness ratio of lacing? The maximum slenderness ratio of your lacing is 145. That means your slenderness ratio, your C by R, okay, so it should never exceed 145. I hope it is very clear for you. The slenderness ratio of your lacing, the length of lacing by minimum radius of gyration, it should never be greater than 145. Very important bit, super important bit. See, this whatever the lacings are there, no, or even battens also, they are going to resist the shear force due to horizontal forces on column. Okay, if there is certain horizontal force acting on the column, so this whatever this lacings are there, no, they have to resist the shear force. Okay, now the question comes, sir kitna shear force horizontally act kar raha hai on a column? Okay, so now the question comes, how much shear force is actually acting horizontally on my column? The answer is I don't know. The answer is very simple, we don't know, but our codebook has a solution for that also. You need not calculate in depth, okay, you need not do experiments and find out. You can just take the horizontal shear force whatever acting on my column, right? It is equals to, the Vt is equals to 2.5 times 2.5% of my column load as transverse force. Okay, so if the column I have is capable of taking 10 let us say 1000 kilonewton, okay, what is the horizontal force I'm going to assume? That will be 2.5% of my 1000 kilonewton, which will be nothing but 25 kilonewton. Okay, so this much amount of horizontal shear force will be coming in my system, and who should resist this? The lacings whatever I have, or battens whatever I have, it should be able to resist it, right? Battens we will see later on, but first let us see lacings. So the lacings whatever we have, it should be able to resist 2.5% of our column loading. Always remember this. See, now comes the very important part. See, on the front face we are only able to see one lacing, but if you have something like this, top view se dekh lena, you have a C section. Here you are seeing the lacing front side. On the back side also you will be having a symmetrical lacing, right? So if the total shear force is V, what is the shear force which is being resisted by each lacing? That will be V by 2. Agreed or not? In this case it will be V by 2, because there are two lacing systems. यहाँ पे एक है and यहाँ पे एक है. There are two lacing systems, therefore V by 2. I hope it is very clear, right? In some cases, let us see these examples. Okay, so on one side you have this lacing system, on the other side you are just attaching a solid plate. Then what will be the shear force on each lacing? That will be V divided by N. Here N is 1, so that will be V. I hope it is very clear. If you have a C section, here also you have a lacing, here also you have a lacing, then your N will be 2, right? So if you have a section like this, okay, you are joining multiple sections like this, then what will happen? यहाँ पे एक आ गया लेसिंग, यहाँ पे एक लेसिंग आ गया, यहाँ पे एक लेसिंग आ गया. So 1 2 3, so you have 3 lacings here, N is equals to 3. So shear force which is going to be which each lacing system has to resist will be V by 3, V by 3, V by 3. In total the shear force V will be resisted by my lacings like this. I hope it is very clear, right? याद रखोगे, कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है ना. So here comes one more important bit. This is for single lacing, but what if you have double lacing? Okay, on each face you have double lacing, so obviously here only you have two lacings. Now here you have no lacing because it is a solid plate. Here you have two lacings, so it will be V by 2 here. Okay, if you have something like this, front you have two lacings, back you have two lacings, the number of lacings are 4. So your force will be, your horizontal shear force which has to be resisted by each lacing system will be V by 4. I hope it is very clear, right? Similarly if you have something like this, यहाँ पे दो, यहाँ पे दो, यहाँ पे दो, if you are double lacing, so it will be V by 6. I hope it is very clear, right? याद रखोगे, कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है ना इसमें. So now comes a very important part. So what is the force acting in my lacing? I have told there will be axial forces coming in my lacing, right? So कितना आ रहा है? What is the axial force which is coming in this lacing? Very important question. See, I have told you the lacing roll, the lacings whatever roll, is to resist my horizontal shear force which is being generated. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, obviously you can understand, right? These members are far away. Whenever the loading is applied, it will try to move further away. Therefore, to resist it, there will be certain shear force coming, and my whatever lacings are there, it should be able to resist it. Concept तो clear है ना आपका, कोई problem ही नहीं है इसमें. So now let us try to understand. Now let us try to understand how much force is being generated in each lacing. ठीक है? So let us say we have a lacing system something like this. Okay, let us take a joint. Okay, यहाँ पे मैंने cut कर दिया है. I have cut here. So on each lacing system, how much shear force will be acting? That will be V by N. Agreed or not? On each lacing system, V by N. If there are n lacing systems, the total shear force resisted will be V. I hope it is very clear, right? तो यहाँ पे n आके it can be 2, it can be 3, it doesn't matter, it depends on your question. So let us take a particular section of my lacing. Okay, let us take this section. Okay, this section, or you can also, up to you, you can take this section also. Let us take this section. So what is happening, I am cutting here, right? So how much shear force is actually acting here? That will be V by N. Okay, so here I have my member. See, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So यहाँ पे कितना आ रहा है? V by N. So no issues there. So here the members are coming like this. Let us say the direction for now is something like this. Okay, the direction for now is something like this. So you can clearly see the force whatever is there with respect to vertical, the angle it is making is theta theta, as I have told earlier. So what is the force? If you are seeing these two or these two, it is up to you. It looks symmetrical, right? So you can solve any one of it, not at all a problem. F with respect to theta, sin theta क्या हो जाएगा? Horizontal component आ जाएगा, right? So F sin theta should be equals to the horizontal whatever shear force acting there. So F sin theta is equals to V by N. Agreed or not? So what is your force? V by N sin theta. So this is a very important formula. Question can be framed in your gate also. What is the force acting on your lacing system? The answer is very simple. V by N sin theta. आंसर क्या हो जाएगा? V by N sin theta. याद रखोगे, कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है ना? So now the next question. If you have a lacing, how many bolts are required? 1 bolt is required or 2 bolts are required or how many bolts are required? If you are taking a particular lacing, how many bolts are required so that this much force can be easily passed? अरे यार काफ़ी simple है. See, what is the component? Vertical component F cos theta. इसका क्या हो जाएगा? Again F cos theta. So totally 2F cos theta is the vertical force which is passing through these bolts. Agreed or not? So these bolts should be able to resist 2F cos theta. So let us say each bolt can resist rivet value RV. ठीक है? Into, let us say there are n number of bolts. So RV into n should be 2F cos theta. So how many number of bolts are required? That will be nothing but 2F cos theta divided by its rivet value. ठीक है? I hope it is very clear, right? The force which a bolt can carry, you just have to divide it. Okay, 2F cos theta by RV, you will be getting your number of bolts required. I hope it is very clear for you. समझ में आ गया concept, कोई problem ही नहीं है, right? So this is about the lacing system. Now let us see battens also. Let us see battens quickly. I hope you understood, right? So in battens, it is very much simple. There are some theoretical bits which will be coming in examinations very frequently, and you have to remember this. The minimum number of battens. Okay, the minimum number of battens in a column we have to maintain are 4. Minimum इतने रहने ही चाहिए. It could be greater than 4, 5, 6, 10, 20. 20 तक जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी आप लोगों को. So 5, 6, 7, it doesn't matter, but minimum there should be 4, and it should be divided into how many base. So if you are having 4, so there will be at least 3 base. Agreed or not? There will be at least 3 base. So obviously the end, this is called as end batten, and whatever are there in between we are calling them as intermediate batten. Okay, so there are certain IS code specifications given for your battens, and you have to remember this, very important. Okay, so before going into that, let me introduce some terms. The first term is alpha. What is this alpha? Alpha is nothing but the clear distance between my columns, and each this C section, let us say this is a C section. Okay, so the center of gravity will be, centroid will be somewhere here, right? So the distance I am calling it as some CYY. Okay, so your alpha is nothing but the clear distance plus CYY here, CYY here, right? CYY of this C section, CYY of this C section. You can just call it is the distance between your two centroids. Okay, so alpha is x plus 2 CYY. You have to remember this. And next I am introducing S1. Okay, what is this S1? S1 is nothing but the distance between innermost connectors. Okay, distance between innermost connectors काफी important है, याद रख लो. So in this thing, let us say this is G, this distance is G. Then what will be your S1? S1 will be nothing but the clear distance plus 2G. I hope it is very clear, right? याद रखोगे, कोई गलती नहीं करोगे ना, गलती नहीं करोगे ना. So be careful here. And next I'm introducing a term which is S. See, I have told you S1 is the distance between innermost connectors. For example, let us say I have a bolt something like this. So innermost connector कौन सा हो गया? This is innermost connector, right? So the distance between these two will be S1. Okay, but there is one more term which is called as S, which is nothing but the distance between centroid of your bolt geometry. For example, where will be the centroid? The centroid will be somewhere here, right? So this distance I am calling it as S. I hope it is very clear, right? Inner to inner I am calling it as S1. Centroid to centroid I am calling it as S. याद रखोगे, कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है ना. Similarly for bolts also, inner to inner that will be my S1, and from center of gravity to center of gravity that will be my S. That will be my S. What's happening to this? Yeah. So these are some terms which you should be remembering: alpha, S1 and S. Okay. And B is nothing but the leg distance of each C section, or whatever if you whatever is given as per that. Okay, so generally C section का बनता है. So each leg I am calling it as B. The distance of each length, width of each length is B. So there are certain specifications which you should always remember. The first specification is minimum 4 number of battens should be used, and minimum base are 3, and the diameter of intermediate batten, the depth of intermediate battens, not diameter, the depth of intermediate battens. So this depth whatever is there, no, it should not be less than 3/4 of alpha or 2b. Okay, what is B? This one, right? The depth should not be less than 3/4 alpha and 2b, right? 3/4 of centroidal to centroidal of my column, or twice the leg of my individual column. Similarly, the end battens whatever you have, the depth, the effective depth of the end battens, it should not be less than alpha or 2b. काफ़ी सिंपल है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. सो इट माइट बी लुकिंग न्यू फॉर यू, बट वंस यू रिवाइज इट विल वेरी कन्वीनियंट. एक बार पढ़ लोगे तो कभी गलती नहीं करोगे. सो नेक्स्ट वन इज थिकनेस ऑफ ईच बैटन. द थिकनेस, ईच बैटन विल हैव सर्टेन थिकनेस, राइट? सो दिस थिकनेस शुड नॉट बी लेस देन बाय S1/50. व्हाट इज S1? S1 इज द इनर टू इनर कनेक्टेड डिस्टेंस, राइट? सो S1/50 से कम नहीं रहना चाहिए. आई होप इट इज वेरी क्लियर. याद रखोगे. सो you already know this bit. I have taught you in lacings topic that your C by R of compression member should not be greater than 50, and it should not be greater than 0.7 lambda of whole structure. So similar to the lacings, we are assuming 2.5% of the column load will be acting as shear force in my batten system also. Okay, no difference, right? But here there is one thing which you have to remember. In lacings, we have assumed the effective length is increased by 5%, right? So that you will be getting the exact load what is acting on my column, and based on that you can design. Okay, जब भी load कम आ जाएगा, so what you will do, you will increase the area so that it can take that much amount of load easily without failing, right? The same will happen here also. So to get your load carrying capacity of a column, first of all, we won't be increasing by 5% here. In case of lacings it is 5%. In case of batten it will be 10%. So that is the only difference, a major difference between lacings and batten. Okay, the effective length I am increasing is 10%. In battens, effective length of a column is increased by 10% in calculation, and this whatever increase rate, it will take care of longitudinal shear force and shear deformations. So what is happening, as the effective length is increasing by 10%, my PCR is inversely proportional to L square. So you can understand that the load carrying capacity now it will be decreased for this column because it is taking some extra forces because of this batten system. I hope it is very clear, right? Now coming to the last part of this formula, let us derive some formulas. Okay, see the lacing, in single lacing system, when I cut, okay, so the force geometry was very simple. यहाँ पे V by N आ गया था, यहाँ पे V by N आ गया था, and here I had force. But here what is happening in battens, you have something like this, right? So whenever you are cutting it, so each batten, whatever the is there, the structure is there, it is taking V by N, which you know very well. So as here I am considering and here I am considering, I have writing it as V by 2N here, V by 2N here, together it is giving V by N, right? I hope it is very clear, right? Where V is 2.5% of column load carrying capacity. So here V by 2N or of Vn, V by N you can write up to you. Here also opposite direction में काम करेगा, exactly opposite direction में आएगा, because each every action has equal and opposite reaction. So of V by N, whenever I am cutting it and taking as an individual diagram, then you have to write like this, right? So यहाँ पे forces आ रहे हैं, so I am considering one downward and one upward. Okay, one in compression and one in tension, obviously. So let us be very clear here. Now you have to calculate what is the force. What is the force which is passing through each batten? So very simple. What you can do is you can take moment about any particular point. Okay. So what is happening? What is the moment? You can take moment about this point. Okay. You can take moment about this point. So force into distance, agreed or not, it is just like a couple, f and distance is, let us say, s. So I can say the couple acting here is anti-clockwise direction, which is f into s, and because of these forces, what is the moment coming here? Very simple, it is also like a couple, upar v by n, niche v by n, right, at a distance of c. So you can write v by n into c. So your f is nothing but Vc by Ns. Okay, काफी simple है, easy to derive, but better to remember as a formula directly. Force is Vc by Ns, but even if you forget, you can derive within couple of seconds, not a problem. Next is, what is the moment in battens? Okay, what is the moment in batten? If you are cutting a batten, let us say here you have some moment m, ठीक है? So how much is it? Very simple, यहाँ पे आ रहा है ऑफ v by n, and here also of v by n. So what you have to do, you just have to find moments. So this whatever moment is there, it is equals to moment because of this force system, so which is of v by n into the distance between these two forces c. So m is equals to vc by 2n. So this is the moment in your batten. I hope it is very clear, right? So force भी आ गया, moment भी आ गया. So like this you can remember the formulas, and if in exam something is asked, you can easily derive. Okay, so open your notes. In notes there are 1-2 problems associated with these topics. Please solve it and you will be more than perfect. ठीक है, एक दो क्वेश्चन है, प्लीज सॉल्व कर लेना, आपको आपका कॉन्सेप्ट 100% समझ में आ जाएगा. सी दिस क्वेश्चन, फॉर अ बैटन कॉलम क्रॉस सेक्शन शोन इन अ फिगर, compressive force is 1000 kilonewton, the spacing between batten is 1 meter, longitudinal shear force in batten is, so he wants longitudinal shear force in batten. So first of all, your v is given as 1000 kilonewton, sorry, your force is given, the actual force whatever is there, it is given as 1000 kilonewton. So what is your V is nothing but 2.5% of this load, right? So it will be 25 kilonewton, right? So if you want force, that will be Vc by Ns in case of batten system. So V, 25 into C is the distance between two battens, spacing between two battens, right? So that is 1 meter. So you can write in Mn 1000 divided by Ns. So you can see the diagram. There are two batten systems. So I am writing 2 into S. S is nothing but the distance between innermost connectors. So here in this diagram it is given as 200. So 200, right? So 25 into 1000 divided by 2 into 200, you will be getting your answer as 62.5. If you write it, you will be getting your marks. I hope you got the concept right. Problem nahi hai na? So like that, solve as many questions as possible. The more you solve, the better your concept will become. Okay. So in the next module, I am going to teach you miscellaneous concepts. In the next module, module number 6 of compression members, I am going to teach you some miscellaneous concepts like column splicing as well as column base. A column base, it is very important question, especially for your gate. I am expecting a question from here. So have some patience. This comes under miscellaneous topics to be precise, but हम कॉलम में ही this compression member में ही पढ़ाई कर लेंगे so that it will be convenient for us. So see you in next module.